Yo, what's going on, great people in all of the great land? Y'all already know what it is. Your favorite fantasy football homeboys in the building. Nick Wilcox, Sean A, Mike in the building. The Fantasy Football Show, the Saturday Show edition, the Divisional Round, going over the 2 games and overall talking about the 4-game slate on DFS to get y'all started for football matchups. We'll be back here Sunday morning to break down the other 2. So we're not split it up. But Johnny, say what's up to the great people.
Yo, what up? Bear with me. My hands is ashy. It's cold outside up here.
Oh, Lord, some lotion on things.
Ooh, it's cold, man.
Lotion on those paws.
Just got back in the crib, man, from the car. I was like, good gracious of life, man. It's cold up here. We had a couple of balmy 40-degree days, catching some some heat on the TikToks about my man Mike Tomlin. I'm here for all the smoke. But yeah, what up, Rob? What's up,
Rob in the building. What up, my guy? Got to talk to us about UFC soon because the football season's about to be over.
Plus, they're gonna be for free not for free, but for discount.
Paramount Plus, baby.
On Paramount, man. That's the only reason why I stopped watching UFC, man. I was like, two reasons. Two reasons. You know why? Number one, too damn
late. Too damn late.
You already know. Too late. Too late, man. Number 2, I was like, dang, man. And people, they're like, oh, man, you can use this site, that site. I said, man, look. I said, listen, man, I'm one of them high-end cats, man. Like, if I can't watch it in HD clear the way I need to, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Interesting.
They're good.
NFL show. All right.
They're good.
I'm in the building, he said. He's like, I'm out here. But yeah, Fantasy Football Show in the house. You know what I'm saying? I got so many shows left. So if you ain't done so, please subscribe to the channel. We are very close to 200 subs. So please help us reach 200 subs. Please subscribe. Please. Thank you for the public service announcement. That being said, going to go right into it. The Bills-Broncos, first game of the Saturday slate tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. game. The number 6 Bills going into Denver to take on the Broncos, the number 1 seeded team. Over under 45.5. The Bills were a slight favor earlier in the week, and now they're a slight underdog, plus 1.5. So we're going to break this down by matchup and what we might be able to see and who's overall going to win this one. So when it comes to these 2 teams, right, they overall have similarities to each other when it comes down to, philosophy. So Denver, for a good amount of the season, they were running the football pretty well. And then once J.K. Dobbins went down, it was kind of they had to switch more to the pass. So at Buffalo, similar, they want to run the football first, James Cook style, and then, Josh Allen to pick them apart. In overall, looking at this game, last year, 31-7 victory for Buffalo. And the game was pretty close at halftime. And the differences between these 2 teams was really the defense. Denver's defense just kind of, they blitzed way too much in that game last year. And right now they currently are still in the NFL. They're the second highest blitz rated team in the NFL, 32% of the time. And with that being said, it'll be interesting to see what the game philosophy will be for Denver when we actually are watching the game, because they know when blitzing Josh Allen, they haven't had great success against him. So I'm curious to see how much blitzing they will do in this one, because I feel if they don't blitz Josh Allen enough, they're going to have an opportunity to win this one. Again, last year, Bo Nix was a rookie quarterback coming into the fold, and now, sophomore quarterback being at home this time versus away. And I'm guessing that they'll have to learn from their lessons. I think from a matchup perspective, though, when you got Buffalo coming into town, remember, Josh Allen and James Cook, between the 2 of them, had over 400 yards combined between the 2 in last year's matchup. And obviously Josh Allen straight up cooking. We love Josh Allen in these spots because he always gets pushed. Now he gets a Denver defense that is still very susceptible to getting carved up. But Patrick Surtain obviously is going to take one half of the field away. So now it's going to be, okay, with all the injuries now coming in, Terrell Shavers and Gabe Davis both tore their ACLs last game. So we're talking about, did Miko Hardman get called up from the practice squad? I didn't know if that happened before I got on, but regardless, like we're looking at, Khalil Shakir, who balled the heck out last game.
Crazy.
Called it, by the way. Had a funny feeling about Shakir. Called that one, but in terms of this game overall, like who do I like? I mean, it's tough. For Josh Allen and these Buffalo Bills, respect them. I respect them for what they do. I just feel like Denver at home is going to find a way to get this one done. Like, I know, like, just looking at statistics last year and looking at some game tape from the year before, last year, like I was saying, they blitzed a ton second half. And overall, like, when it comes to Josh Allen and the blitz, it's something that Josh Allen is still effective, just like Lamar is. Both of these quarterbacks very effective against the blitz, versus when you have them sit back for zone coverages. Because in zone coverage, you're gonna obviously, you're gonna give them some options, and then you're not gonna allow them to run the football a ton. So Josh Allen, we know he was kind of banged up. He's banged up coming into this one. So I still suspect him to run the football. It's just may not be as much. May just only be when he really has to, or near the goal line where they'll probably design some things for him. So I do think in that regard, I think Josh Allen from an offensive perspective, I think they still have an opportunity to score points against Denver. But I do think Denver is going to find a way to get this one done. Denver's defense has been really well this year. And again, having Patrick Surtain is always nice. And then Buffalo, I just think the injuries might catch up to them. But the front seven is going to provide them some opportunities. The bookends. The key matchup for me is obviously the line of scrimmage. It's going to be the front seven for Denver, where they have to stop the run early against James Cook. They can't allow him to get going. If they allow James Cook to get going, it's going to be a long day for them, because if that happens, play action passes happen, options overall for Josh Allen happen. So my overall thing, Denver's going to win this one at home. I like the slight over in this one because I do think that this comes down to, can Denver stop Josh Allen pretty much? Can this front seven step up versus what they did last year? And if they're going to blitz a ton, then Buffalo will take this one because Josh Allen's going to carve them up. So give me Denver for the overall pick. But again, I think that's something I'm going to be watching out for. If the blitzes happen and they're not getting at home and the pressure rate's not getting there for Josh Allen, he's going to carve them up.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I talked about Josh Allen a lot on Sunday morning. And of course, I know you were loving our group text every time something was happening. It was Josh Allen's fault.
It was.
Yeah, good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah, good, bad, or indifferent. So, I told you, man, y'all better stop playing with Josh Allen, man, like at this point in time. I think I
know he got, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna ride with it, man. Like I got no choice but to. Like at this point, man, I can't talk that much trash and then jump off the wagon, man. You know what I mean? I like the Broncos, man. Like I like Bo Nix, man. I do, but I just I've said before, man. I think like this is just one of these spots where, no, it's not the best team that the Buffalo Bills have fielded. No, this is not their best defense. No, this isn't their best a lot of things. But like there's just something to be said about the will to win for Josh Allen. And I think too, just Bo Nix has had some shaky moments. He's had some shaky moments this season for sure. So I think there's that. There's also obviously like the layoff, right? Like you have to take that into consideration as well. I think we've seen a lot of times in the NFL playoffs where, teams that, I'm old enough to remember when two teams had to bye, and it was always kind of shaky, with those two teams.
It's only been like what, 5 years they made this change?
Man, you let me marinate. You let me marinate, all right? You let Unc do his thing. All right? But yeah, like, but no, like, sometimes like that does play a role in things. And like you talked about like a lot of things like around Josh Allen and like his ability to run the ball and things like that. Josh Allen has had at least 9 carries in 7 of his career playoff games. On the road in the postseason, he actually averages 10 carries, almost 9.8. For sure. And last week he had 11 carries against the Jags. He had 2 touchdowns, or has 2 touchdowns career wise. So I do think that Josh Allen, I know he's banged up, man, and I don't know why I'm just so like in Pittsburgh Steeler, uh, in such Pittsburgh Steeler mode. But it just and I've always said this, man. I've always said this about Josh Allen is that like he's this generation's Big Ben, man. He's a big guy. He's tough to bring down. He's erratic at times. Like, you know, he plays through injuries. Like he's just that guy. Like he's that guy, man. So I think like you're going to see that from him in this space. And then you talk about like, or you talked about James Cook and like getting him going and like, you know, probably the last quarter of the year. One of the things like I just kept saying and kept seeing was just like, the tight ends for the Buffalo Bills, Well, the Bills running backs and tight ends lead the NFL with 8.8 yards per target this season. Almost 50% of their first downs, at least they've earned at least a first down on at least almost 46% of targets. And that's the second highest rate from any team since 2016. The only other team that was higher than that was the 2022 Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills running backs and tight ends also have 18 of the team's 29 receiving touchdowns, which is the third most in the NFL. So like it's all about, as you mentioned, James Cook, but it's also all about these other, you know, the other players. It's also about, you know, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. It's about those guys, right? Like that's how this is going. And like Khalil Shakir, like, yeah, like I did not see that. I did not see that happening on Sunday. Did not see that happening at all. So I think like that's one thing, obviously, for us to take into consideration. Looks like we're getting some love out here too, man. I love it. So I'm gonna stop. And Haynes Handley 7. Shout out to you, whoever you are out there, baby. Shout out, you know, Shadow Stud Ranch. Shout you out too, baby. We give you the love. It's all good out here, man. Shout you out. I'll stop what I'm doing to do it. You know, which is a big deal because I always get pissy anytime I get interrupted. But
you make your points before you went off on, sorry. Why don't you continue? Like
but then so like now we transition to things, right? Like over to, or at least just to talk about the Broncos. Biggest thing for them is going to be yards after the catch. The Broncos as a whole had the 5th most yards in the NFL after the catch, 2,183 yards, which like accounts for almost actually over 56% of their total receiving yards after the catch. So really like it comes down to, can the Buffalo Bills tackle, which the Buffalo Bills defense has had moments where they have not been good tackling. Like we know that. And like obviously this is the strength of the Denver Broncos is yards after catch. So that's going to be interesting. That's an interesting matchup for me to pay attention to. Although they did hold the Jags to 88 yards after the catch in the wild card round, which this is crazy. That was the 4th lowest mark of the season for Jacksonville. So actually the Bills did show up and they did tackle on the road. So they got to show up and they got to do it again if they want to have a chance to win this game for sure. And then James Cook, man, that game was the 2nd fewest yards after contact he had this season, which was 2.2. And that was the first time that James Cook did not force a missed tackle all season long. Outside of week 18, he only had 2 carries. So like, I think there's that space of it. And you talked about like the blitz too, with Josh Allen. And last year, in last season's Broncos Bills wild card matchup, Josh Allen got blitzed on 11 his 17 second half dropbacks after Denver only blitzed twice in the first half, to kind of talk about, or to add some context to like what you were saying there. Allen was 10 for 12, 141 yards and a touchdown against the blitz.
Carved them.
8 first downs. And the Broncos this year, man, they blitzed at the 5th highest rate. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Like
natural pass rate, but Denver is a top 3 unit in natural pressure rate.
I'm not like that. That does not even doesn't even shock me at all. At all. Like that's just like that's a very.
They don't even have to blitz. They don't have to blitz that much. So I'm just curious what kind of Denver defense I'm gonna see. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like I think if they do, to your point, it's like they're blitzing Josh Allen. We just told you what he did to him last year. So
yeah. But I mean, so I think like there's that, and then Bo Nix, like you talk about him for a second. It's protection for him. That's what it boils down to. 3rd lowest pressure rate among qualified quarterbacks this season. So like obviously, man, Denver Broncos offensive line has done a phenomenal job as far as like keeping him upright and keeping him out of harm's way. So yeah, man, like I think for me, like I'm gonna take the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna take the Buffalo Bills for sure in this space. I don't feel great about it. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I'm subscribing to Josh Allen. And this being his one opportunity to get there, as we've obviously seen like the tide kind of shift in the AFC a little bit with leaders and stuff. So yeah, man. So give me the Bills in this space. Yeah, and we can roast each other on Sunday morning about this game.
appreciate the sub out there. Appreciate the sub. Appreciate it. Should you sub? Of course you should. Appreciate it. The shout outs, please be sure to do the same as well. If you got any questions, you got any remarks, drop them in the chat. Yeah, I mean, you got the over, you got the under.
I'm gonna go under in this game. I'm gonna go under. I think this is gonna be like, I think just the way that like Denver plays just naturally is not one where like they put up a ton of points on the board. I think like the Bills, it's a lot of splash plays really for both teams. Really is what it is. So I just can't see 2 really good football teams, or at least one good football team. I think the other one is just like riding an emotional wave to go over the mark. So I'm gonna take the under in this space. I know it's not sexy. I know it's not fun. I know it's not popular. But
you know, it's not popular. He said.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, sometimes these matchups really are unders till like the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
They start ramping up points out of nowhere. It's like, wait a minute. It was supposed to be an under. With that being said, what up? Man, we're getting popular out here, huh?
I know. I can't keep my people out of the chat, man, apparently. You know what I mean?
He's like, I can't keep up with this shit.
It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, man, because like, my kids, they kind of, they're all about like this, YouTuber. So like, God knows like what so. Oh no. Yeah. Act like you've been here before, or otherwise we'll have to put you in timeout, man.
Pretty much.
We love the love, but act like you've been here.
Act like you've been here before, for sure.
Yeah.
Next game on the docket: Niners, Seahawks. Classic NFC West showdown. One more time. The Niners getting 7 points going to Seattle. Seattle being at home, the conference's #1 seed. Sam Darnold leading the way. There's some questionable ability going on with him a little bit, but he's going to be playing. So there was a little bit of is he going to play? He's not going to play, but it's like, come on, bro. You had 2 weeks. Let's go. Put off the dang couch and play. But anyhow, like I said, the Niners getting 7 points going to Seattle. Another 45.5 over under. Johnny, take us through it.
Yeah, this one here, man, my boy Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. It's amazing, like which teams I've adopted and fostered during the regular season. Obviously they'll never change. I'm always adopted. Yeah, adopted. I adopted and fostered the Seahawks. I adopted and fostered The Chicago Bears, man. Like I adopted and foster. I didn't adopt and foster any AFC teams. They were all NFC teams or whatever. So,
they were all NFC teams,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
They're all
yeah.
NFC
Yeah,
teams.
and if you must ask, of course, why? Of course, I would be rooting for the Steelers as they played against the Seahawks and the Bears, which both teams happen to have beat the Steelers this year. So, do me a favor, don't ask silly questions because if you ask silly questions, you'll get silly answers. I love silly questions just to give silly answers.
Definitely, silly answers.
Oh man, so I'll start off with the Seahawks, man, in their defense, right? Top scoring defense in 2025, 17 points per game. And obviously they split the regular season series with the Niners. All right, so stat time, story time with Unc. Since 2000, teams with the top 3 scoring defenses have rematched a divisional foe with either whom they've split the season series with in 18 times. In those rematches, the top 3 scoring defenses have won 11 times, but they've had a game with an average score of 50.7 points. So I think like you picking up what I'm putting down early on. I'm smelling like, over is what it smells like in this space here.
Yep.
And I thought that was just like an interesting stat, right? Because it's the adage old question, does a good defense beat a good offense? And I think like you see, like that's historically in this scenario, that's what it is it's the defense that you kind of give the edge to in that space. So let's talk about like the coaching piece here. Kyle Shanahan, he's averaged 18 points per game in 4 games versus Mike McDonald since he became the head coach in 2024. That is the fewest among 16 coaches that Shanahan has faced 3 times, including the playoffs. Shanahan also faced the Ravens with McDonald as the defensive coordinator, where the 49ers turned the ball over 5 times. That's tied for the most under Shanahan. So again, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Brock Purdy, 4-0 on the road versus the Seahawks in his career. That is tied for the longest quarterback win streak at the Seahawks at any point in a career. All time, he's tied with Dan Fouts, OG, who won 4 straight from 77 to 80. And then the one guy that everybody, of course, they're going to want to talk about, Christian McCaffrey. This was wild. I seen this stat. I was like, geez, dude. Christian McCaffrey is averaging 142 scrimmage yards per game versus the Seahawks. I'm going to repeat that one more time in case you got up to go get some popcorn or, your kids acting crazy, like something. Okay.
The dog's acting crazy. Yeah.
That dog loves me, by the way. I love that dog. What's that dog's name? What's that?
Dolly.
Dolly. Of course. Tennessee, you know what I mean? Of course. That's what it is. Christian McCaffrey has averaged 142 scrimmage yards per game versus in his career versus the Seahawks. That's the 7th most all time by a player entering a playoff matchup against a team with minimum 5 games versus their opponent, with each of the other top 6 being Hall of Fame running backs. So like obviously we know there's a very, very high probability that Christian McCaffrey will end up there at some point in time when everything is all said and done. And then because that's it. I was getting ready to go somewhere else. I was getting ready to go into the other game. But yeah, man, I think like this is definitely a spot that it feels like the Seahawks have this number. It feels like they do. And then obviously like George Kittle going down. That's a big loss, obviously, for the 49ers for sure. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. But like all arrows are pointing at the Seahawks for this game here. And I think we all can agree that like San Francisco defensively has left a lot to be desired over the past few weeks. We know they got the win in Philly for sure. Kudos to them, like in that space. But man, dude, golly, man, it's hard for me to pick the 49ers, man. It's hard. It's hard for me too. The other thing too is looks like Sam Darnold has not recorded any touchdown passes in both of his games. Yeah, no touchdown passes
Yeah.
for Darnold in both of his games this season. So that's kind of tricky too, man. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Seahawks, bro. And I'm gonna take
Taking
the
points, -7.
I probably won't mess with the points. I'm gonna back off of that one. I'm gonna back off. If I do anything, I'm gonna check it live. I'm gonna check it live. I'll get in on it live, and see. Yeah, man, I'm scary. So what? So what?
That's
Yeah,
fine. No,
yeah,
that's
yeah. This
that's
you
fine.
know, this is what's gonna work for me here. So I'm gonna do that, man. That's my play.
Well, I'm not. I think I think Seattle gets this one done. They cover too.
Okay.
Besides, like losing George Kittle is huge.
Yeah.
Losing George Kittle is huge. Like even in the last matchup, like Seattle, like got pressure on Purdy, 46.9% of his drawbacks. And they blitzed him only 6 times in that game, by the way. So most of the time was just natural pressure rate, and that's according to Pro Football Focus. Christian McCaffrey, a season low 23 yards rushing on 8 carries. Like, if that happens, if that is anywhere near happening again, like let's just say he gets 50 something yards rushing still, like the only way I feel like the Niners are going to have an opportunity offensively is really, again, like Christian McCaffrey's going to have some type of success on the ground first, and they're going to have to open it up play action passes. We all know Seattle plays a ton of 2 highs, overall with the safeties, and they play them pretty deep. So what does that mean? Means that if they can get play action going, the crossers come into play. Things over the middle has to come into play. And if Ricky Pearsall plays, so he's still kind of questionable for tomorrow's game, definitely keep status on that. But Jawan Jennings would be someone I would be keying in on to overall take advantage of this overall schematic format. And as well as, again, Ricky Pearsall, if he plays, and then DeMarcus Robinson, who showed up out of nowhere. Dude. Out of nowhere. Talk about Showed up. No one played last week, dog.
Literally.
Last week, for real. No one. Barely anyone played. If you played him, definitely had money, for sure. And what up, Jackie? Please like, subscribe to the channel for us. We really appreciate it. Any notes you want to bring on down, bring them on down. But I think the way to beat Seattle is going to have to be, moving the chains, over the middle, like I was saying before. Seattle's defense is still, again, no George Kittle, just keeps this offense even more like, guys are going to have to win some one-on-ones here. But like I said, I think Seattle wins this one pretty comfortably. And I know it's the only way that it becomes like really more of a game is, again, like we talked about before, the Niners still, top 5, bottom defense in pressure rate. So it's like even in games where Donald hasn't thrown touchdown passes last 2 games, like it's still like that's something still really important because even though Darnold wasn't the best, he's overall somewhere where it's like he's still the good game manager of this one. 13-3 last time they played each other. Like I said, it was just more of a slugfest. But I do expect some more offense in this one. Like I said, things over the middle and stuff. But I'll just say that, I just think Seattle has all the tools to put it all together, keep this game how they want it. I think the Niners can get out to an early lead in this one, though, just because, again, the layoff, I'm saying, even though they're at home, something like that. Sometimes something about being the number 1 seed or whatever, you kind of just go off to a slowish start sometimes. So I still expect Seattle to win this one because, again, their ground game is, top notch. Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet had over 70 yards rushing or more last game as well. And not to put it all in last game, but, week 1 was the last time they played each other before that game. So that being said, like I said, we like Seattle. I definitely put the -7 for them. And again, the Seattle defense, I just think they get home to Purdy late in the game. So that's where I see that overall happening. And I love football. Yeah, we do too. I'm not a football coach, but hey, never say never. That being said, did you want to go over any tips for the 4-game slate in general, or did you want me to go over the props to let you load up? Which one?
Well, on FanDuel, it's it's kind of tricky because on FanDuel, the main slate is on Sunday, and it's only 2 games on the main slate on Sunday. DraftKings, like
They split it up.
yeah, like as far as like the tournaments, like that are like that, I like
DraftKings has a 4-game slate.
DraftKings does have a 4-game slate. I mean, I'll go over some ownership, just like with the games or whatever, but obviously it makes it kind of tricky because we've got the split here. But I'll hit the ownership hit the ownership for the 2 games here. If you're playing on the 4-game slate, Christian McCaffrey, actually JSN, Christian McCaffrey, top 2, RJ Harvey and James Cook, no surprise. A close, not close, but third and fourth in that space. Now, if you just wanted to just play, so we'll just say like if you just want to play the 2-game slate on Saturday, I'll go over a little bit of that. JSN 86%, McCaffrey 78. So obviously, like those are the 2 big.
Is there a way you would get off those like guys at all, even on the 2 games?
I knew you were just getting ready to ask that. I knew that. Oh man. I like. Let me look at the flex plays here, man. Let me look at all the flex plays because I just like looked at the quarterbacks. I feel like if I did get off of anybody, like maybe McCaffrey would be the one to get off of. And I know that's like asinine, but like you're able to get like James Cook, I think is getting ready to have a big day, man. Like I think like not to like go like super nuclear, but like I think like after a performance like that, you almost have like it's almost inevitable for that. I'll tell you the players that I do like as we just kind of roll through here. I do like James Cook on a 2-game slate. Obviously he's the third half. Yeah, I do think
like a bounce back from him.
I think it's a bounce back from him, man. I don't see why not. Like, you know, typically like when these guys have like lackluster performances like this, they typically bounce back in a pretty big fashion, right? And if you're the Denver Broncos, you know, what is it? Like, what is it? It's all right, it's Josh Allen, like that's what it is. And hey, as long as like we don't let Josh Allen get going, it's cool. But also too, like as I talked about earlier, like a lot of the offense is centralized and focused with the running backs and tight ends. So I think James Cook, I think this is definitely a nice spot for him. Cortland Sutton, his receiving yards per game, or not per game, but his receiving yardage, I guess per game. It goes up obviously when he's at home. So they're playing at home. So maybe this is a good spot for him as well when you talk about DFS. And then you mentioned Jawan Jennings. Like I love Jawan Jennings in this spot for sure. And then you just, you know, if you're going to get off McCaffrey, I feel like the other place to go is then you got to play, you know, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Ken Walker? Or is it going to be Sharps? Like which direction are you going to go in this space? So I think like the Seattle run game is definitely in play for sure. Obviously, you just got to get it right depending on which one you go with. Right. So I think McCaffrey is going to he'll get volume like he always does for sure. Right. You know, I've heard some other people, some people I perceive to be, well, not perceive, but some people that are definitely smarter than me have talked about like some things like, okay, well, is Christian McCaffrey like just some different ways to utilize him? Like, okay, like do they line him up in the slot like with a lot more, like do they line him up in the slot with like a lot more frequency and let B-Rob get like, you know, get the dirty work and, you know, this and that. So I think there's obviously a space for that for sure. So like I'm not like a full blown fade for Christian McCaffrey because I typically play like 20 max entries. But like if you told me that, like if you asked me like which high end guy like doesn't get there, but like doesn't pay off their price tag, I probably would say it would be McCaffrey. But again, man, we've been writing Christian McCaffrey off all season long, and he's only averaged 142 yards against the Seahawks in 7 games. So why would he go nuclear?
Christian McCaffrey needs one more touchdown. He scored in every single game of his playoff career. He needs one more to tie an all-time postseason record for touchdowns.
Make me feel like a jerk even more, man. You're doing a good job. Doing a good job tonight playing the role of me, man.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. You see why I like to defer to it? It's so easy, man.
2-game or 4-game. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, like it's definitely difficult to kind of narrow your stuff down. Who's the stud that you think is gonna not reach their ceiling? So it's like it's definitely tough. Like, I think the guy, I don't know, like for the 2-game slate, Josh Allen is the guy I would 7,100. Like, it's not a crazy price tag. It's just more about like, and we see him just hit his 30-point, ceiling mark. It's just more about like the other options on the 2-game slate. It's like the 4-game slate. It's like,
all right, we're getting ready to build one up. Then is what I'm feeling. So.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, we're getting ready to build one up. Why not?
So the 2-game, 4-game.
Yeah, we'll build a 2-game in. We'll build a 2-game in here. We're talking about it too much. I'm like, we got to do it now. We got to do it.
2 games, so we got to roll Josh Allen no matter what. Then, because there's too many other variables. Like I probably expect the Niners Seahawks game to probably still go over, but it's weird. It's a weird duality because it's like Josh Allen because the 2-game slate because that there's no like we're talking about Bo Nix, Purdy, and Darnold. Like none of them have the ceiling like Josh Allen does. So it definitely makes things difficult for the overall slate. But I want to roll with Josh Allen obviously for the overall 2-game. And like you were saying, John, it's like who do you rule out for salary purposes? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Because you can play both McCaffrey and Puka, but it's like James Cook for 7,300 on DraftKings versus 8,800 for McCaffrey. You know what I'm saying? It's like, does that make sense to do? To play
the weather, like I don't want to be the weather guy, but the weather guy.
I don't want to be the weather guy.
Well, it seems like it's not ideal. Let's see here, let me get there. It seems like it's not ideal, obviously, in Chicago. So,
and it's the last game of the slate, so it's like,
jeez.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
There we go.
All last game of the slate. That's the only problem with that as well for the 4-game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's great. It's the last hurrah. But as you're loading that up, we will give you the 2-game for the Knicks prop shop. We went to 59% on the year because we had 6-10 wild card record. Let's just say some games just didn't go our way. Matchups, just is what it is. But the good news is we got to bounce back. And I got 4, I think, for each game. Yep, 4 for each game. So for the Bills-Broncos game, got Josh Allen over 210 passing yards. Just thinking this spot, like Josh Allen, this line's a bit too low for him. And it's going to take another Superman effort for these Buffalo Bills to get to the conference championship. So I do think Josh Allen is totally capable of doing this, and this is the matchup to push him for that. Brandon Cooks, 25+ receiving yards or more. He's already shown that chemistry with Josh Allen. He's a veteran. Brandon Cooks, he's played on these type of caliber teams where you rely on him to get things done. And I think the line for him is just way too low, especially all the injuries that's happening for Buffalo. So give me him for 25+. I also like his 2.5 receptions as well. So I like Brandon Cooks for sure in this matchup, even though he gets, Patrick Surtain. There's going to be ways I think Brandon Cooks even play the slot a little bit as well. So Bo Nix plus 25+ rush yards, had over 40 rush yards in this matchup last year. And we know that Buffalo gives up the fewest passing yards to quarterbacks per game this season. So Bo Nix going to have to do it on the ground a little bit to open up some things for him. For be a short game or downfield threats. So I like that line as well. And then we got Khalil Shakir going back to the well. Denver's weak point is over the middle and in the slot. So Khalil Shakir should get another healthier amount of targets, which should lead him to getting to at least this line for 6 catches. Double check your books for lines and overall odds, but I like the 6 catches for Khalil Shakir. This should be something where him and Dalton Kincaid, and then Knox, they should all have some decent lines, but I do like Khalil Shakir the most for that. So Niners Seahawks game, we got Christian McCaffrey 50+ receiving yards. They got to use with Christian McCaffrey due to overall air. They have to use some linebacker matchups against McCaffrey because, again, the last 2 games they've played against Seattle, he's been bottled up in the rushing game. without George Kittle, this should lead to opportunities to where, Jake Tunges hadn't done too bad stepping up for Kittle. But I do think McCaffrey's going to have to be involved in the receiving game, and that's where I think the 50-plus receiving yards feels a bit too low for this matchup. Charbonnet, the real Seattle running back, won. Line is too low for him. 50-plus rush yards or more. There should be. I saw plus money for him on DraftKings, so double check your books. But in this matchup where zone runs against the Niners, they've been decent, middle of the pack against zone runs. But again, like I said, the top of this matchup where Charbonnet and Walker both had 70-plus rush yards against these guys, with Walker just blitzing them late, like early on in this game for like a longer run play. So I do like Charbonnet as, in this matchup. Take Tunges over 34.5 receiving yards. He's hit this line in all games where Kittle was out and him filling in for him. So I definitely like this line. And then lastly, Juwan Jennings, 40-plus receiving yards. Double check. I might have a line for Ricky Pearsall if he plays. So double check our X platforms. But Jennings, 40-plus receiving yards. This just talked about to my earlier when it comes to matchup base. Purdy only had one 20-plus or more yard pass play the last time they played Seattle. And like I said, Seattle's going to play 2 deep zone coverages. And this leads to overall play action passes and using those crossing routes, those pivot routes. And that's where either Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, or Ricky Pearsall, if he plays, can all be susceptible to that. So I do like Juwan Jennings, 40-plus receiving yards in this matchup. Those are the props for the prop shop.
Dig that. All right. Let's see what we got here, man. Got a little bit, got started. So you got Allen, JSN, and Seahawks defense.
Yep. Perfect.
To start off, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think just to start off, to be in agreement on, which is a rarity for us. So I think that's a good starting point.
That is.
Yeah, it's a rarity. It is. It's definitely a rarity. Let's see here. Actually. So yeah. So now, I think the other part is you got McCaffrey at 8,800. I want to stay away from him, but I also want to get to one of these Seattle running backs. And I do agree with you. It does feel like Charbonnet. But it's kind of hard to ignore what Ken Walker did last time, right?
It is, but
it's hard to ignore it.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? What? We're talking about $200 difference between those two guys, right?
Yeah, let's see how it starts off. So we'll start with Sharbs. And then I'm gonna go with James. I'm gonna go with James Cook, and then I'm also gonna turn around and I'm also gonna go with Dalton Kincaid. So I'm gonna go with that, and I know this against the grain with Denver's success.
No, Denver's been out of all the positions, like I said, they're susceptible to the slot receivers, but tight ends they've actually cooked, and I forgot to mention that. But the overall when it comes to tight ends for them, it's been what? So besides, oh man, I had it. But anyhow, they overall can cook. So 4 of the last 7 tight ends have scored 14-plus PPR points or more.
Give me Dalton.
That list included Kelsey, Bowers, Strange, and Ertz. So yeah, right. I think that's Kincaid. I have no problem going there at all. I like Shakir as well, but I might be, then we'll have to figure out a bring back for Denver spot. So that's
the bring back already got the bring back, man. I think Troy Franklin's the bring back.
Troy Franklin.
I think he's the bring back, in the spot for me. Just from if I had my preference,
is it him or Pat Bryant? Which one?
I thought about Pat Bryant too. I did. I thought about Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant. Actually, my 2 low guys were Pat Bryant and Cooper Kupp, but I'm not going to go to Cooper Kupp because I do feel like but hear me out, just hear me out with I'm not going to go there with him, but obviously I'm going to be playing more lineups, but I really feel like the mishap there going into halftime with Cooper Kupp in this game last time, I think there's going to be a little bit more of an edge there for him for sure. And then also too, man, dude, there's so many ironic storylines that like I could create in my head. If Bills win, Pats win, AFC East, like AFC least is what I would call it.
My
Yeah.
worst nightmare.
And
No.
then obviously
Not
Seahawks.
have that? You not say that?
Seahawks and Rams, right? Like that another division.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, but like just imagine the irony of having two like division rivals going at it to go to the Super Bowl, and one like obviously like with the narrative of Cooper Cup and the Rams, right? And then obviously Bills and Pats. But anyhow, that's where I'm at. Tip, man, appreciate the love, brother, for sure, for sure. I can't,
Mr. Major.
yeah, is it almost bad? Is it almost bad business to because it's like we got to get a Niner in here somewhere. I feel like.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we do.
Let me see.
Like I said, if Ricky Pearsall play, I'd be all over him.
Yeah, that ain't gonna
no homo. But
this guy. Oh, goodness, this guy. Okay. So Juwan Jennings is at 54, and then it's like Rashid Shaheed, and like we're loaded up. Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks,
Jan Coleman, like
oh my god, I just can't.
I know.
Can't even bring myself to that.
I know.
Just move down off of him and go to Knox and see what that looks like, because Dawson Knox is the passing game situation for the Bills is definitely gross too.
He's in play, Knox in play.
Yeah, so like if we go there now with Knox, and then we go back to and then what did we say? Jennings. Let's see what we got. Then we got 5,000, and then the flex. Then that does give us at least like a reasonable option. Like it does give us a reasonable option if we want to get down, if we want to play like a Brian Robinson, if we feel like that game is going to end up shaking out that way, like as we were talking about, like, or as I was talking about, like I don't know how you feel about it. It's a reach, right? But like it's a 2-game slate, so you got to get dirty somewhere, or we move off of the Seattle defense, and if you believe in the Bills defense, which is probably not going to be played a lot, you can then get to either Ken Walker or Khalil Shakir. But then it's like you got a ton of Bills bring back. So, yeah, it's. I mean,
I'd rather if Ricky Pearsall doesn't play.
But then that opens you. The only thing I hate about that then is that it opens you up to like now having to like go into you have to go like into a Niner, obviously have to go to a Seahawks. Or we could, if at tight end, we could play chalky Jake Tongs.
Wouldn't hate that either.
It doesn't do anything really. Doesn't do anything.
That's why I said let's just stick with I just like if Ricky Pearsall doesn't play, we have an easy switch. You know what I'm saying? So it's an easy switch to go down to DeMarcus Robinson in this lineup. So that's my only thing. And the correlation, there's not much correlation. Obviously, it's like if we had Christian, this is like the against correlation Christian McCaffrey, right?
Yeah.
McCaffrey doesn't go off, and then for DraftKings purposes, like San Francisco playing from behind, you got Jennings, and I got whoever plays. If Pearsall plays, then obviously he's very cheap at 4,800. So
but also too, that's what that Seahawks defense would do too, is it would leverage that too and say, okay, like, well, no, you're not playing McCaffrey, and
this is just a bet on Christian McCaffrey not going nuclear. Like,
this is what this is. So we don't share $10 with 100 of our friends.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Like I said, then worst case scenario,
Actually, no. This is crazy.
What?
You go double tight. Josh Allen, James Cook, Kincaid, and Knox, as we just talked about. Like that's the bulk of the passing game there. So you're really exposed to the Bills offense now, and then you are focused on JSN. I like this lineup actually better. Real talk. I actually like this lineup better. because it gives you that.
But leaving 700 on the table, going double flex at tight end.
And
then,
yeah. I think this is the one.
Any love for Cortland Sutton?
I have love for Cortland Sutton. I love Cortland Sutton, but I just
that's where I was like, if just going against the
versus
green,
Troy Franklin.
Having him in the same lineup. So we're expecting the Buffalo Denver game to go completely off, and the over under to go under for San Francisco game.
That's what you like. I took the under. I took the under for Buffalo and Denver.
Right.
I took the under for that. Like I think like Seattle, San Francisco goes over.
See, that's the thing. So it's like the correlation of like that happening. But if you like the double tight, that's fine too.
Yeah, the double tight, like I said, man, it's just a passing targets, passing volume. So that's what I'm gonna lock in.
Let's lock in.
All right. Dig that.
Perfect. See?
Oh.
We got one more tomorrow, people. Yeah. But that being said, Johnny, I'm gonna ask you any final thoughts for the people.
I'm gonna look whoever and everybody, the 35 people that are here tonight in this camera.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna leave with one thing tonight. Controversial.
Yeah.
Put some respect on Josh Allen's name is what I'm gonna leave y'all with tonight.
Okay.
Put some respect on his name.
Okay.
Put some respect on his name. Act like you know. Act like you know. Act like you know. That's all I got.
All right. Well, looking forward to some awesome games tomorrow. Awesome game Sunday. But make sure you're back 10:30 a.m. Eastern Sunday morning. We'll go over the other two games: Bears, Rams, and Patriots and Texans. So we'll see y'all then. Peace.